Are you struggling in your online business with the feeling of not enough or fear of rejection? Well, today I have a little quick trick for you on what I use in my business when I need to feel that empowerment and success. If we haven't met before, my name is Michele and I'm a certified online business manager, and I kindly kick digital CEOs out of the back office so they can focus on more sales, more revenue, and my very favorite, more impact. So today I want to talk to you about a little technique that I started early on in my business, and it's called emotional freedom technique. Yeah, I know it sounds a little bit woo, but just stick with me if this isn't anything that you've heard of before, because I do believe that it's something that was a game changer early on in my business. So, emotional freedom technique is based on a more complex technique called the thought field therapy, created by Roger Callahan. And after taking Callahan's course, EFT founder Gary Craig realized that he could really simplify the process, and that is how EFT was born. And I'll link down below like Gary's entire EFT manual so that you have that available, and it's for free to download off of his website. So my personal introduction to EFT came from one of my very first clients, and she split her time between the United States and Australia to be able to not have to endure any of the winter weather. So what a lucky gal she was. But she really brought things into that whole, what I would consider that spiritual and woo and the different things into my belief system that I didn't have previously in working in a corporate. Just was not anything that was ever talked about or introduced to me. And one of the things she introduced to me was EFT, or emotional freedom technique. And one of the things that we would do together is actually like a daily tapping session. So it was, you know how you attract or you're drawn to people that are at the similar place that you are in life. And we both were about that same thing, with kind of having that feelings of, am I enough? I'm scared that people are going to reject me, and everything that, you kind of get when you're first starting off in a business. And you're just not really sure of what you're supposed to be doing or how you're supposed to be doing. And it is so difficult. Okay, in my personal opinion, it was very difficult to transfer from being that corporate employee mindset to being a business owner and actually just really stepping into that role of being a CEO in my business. So what exactly is EFT? Well, it's a therapy technique that's loosely based on like acupuncture or acupressure. And it's just tapping on different points in your body to help you eliminate some of that physical, emotional, and mental issues that you have going on. Yeah, I know. Still, stick with me here. So as you tap on the key points on your body, it moves that energy. Yeah, again, I know, right? By tapping on these key points on your body, you give yourself the opportunity to balance the flow. So today I'm going to talk to you about tapping into your own success. So if you are struggling with any point in your life and business and you're ready to just really step into that success, well, friend, I'm here to help you short track that success and not take the roundabout way as I did. Because even though sometimes it's got great learning lessons in there, still sometimes you just want to get as quick as possible from point A to point B. So what are you exactly struggling with? Like, what is that emotion, that true emotion that you're struggling with? Because you want to make sure that you're pinpointing it and you're really getting down to that key emotion that you're feeling in your body. And you want to look at what is actually causing you to feel that way. That not enough, or fear of rejection, or that whole I'm scared to sell myself. Now, and I think the selling part, I just want to mention as a side note here, when you're selling to people, you need to look at it that you are offering something that they need And the reason why sales feels a little sleazy is because you always relate that selling back to your worst sales experience that you have. Because the ones that are really good, you don't even notice that you're actually being sold on something. So just keep that in mind. So if any of those things hit home with you, then we'll go ahead and talk through those today. But the best way that I've found to actually figure out the points that I want to tap on, and I know this is going to be a shocker to you if you've been following me for any amount of time, but it's actually to journal it out. It's to actually think through all those things that you have going on in your mind so that you can actually figure out the true emotion that's coming up from you. And I still do this today. I still practice my emotional freedom technique because I'm always working through new levels of emotions as I grow and scale. Okay, so where exactly are you feeling that emotional charge? So is there a memory or an emotion that's coming up for you? Do you feel it in a specific part of the body? I mean, those are the things that we want to figure out and actually tap on. And tapping is really personal. So we all have our own baggage and views of the world. So this is where, again, the journaling really comes pretty in handy. So that you can really tap into what your emotional stings are. And we really want to dig deep into those. And one of the other things that I have found for myself personally when I do the tapping is I get better success if I'm very specific on one specific emotion than trying to put a whole bunch of them in at the same time or a whole bunch of different thoughts in at the same time. Where some people will do like a whole script in a story as they tap through. That's great. I've done that in the past too. If it works for you, keep doing that. But for me personally, I have to tap specifically on the same phrase for my negative points. And let me go through the different key points that are part of tapping so you understand all the key elements that go into it. So how exactly do you tap? So the basic structure is the setup, the sequence, and the suggestions. So the setup is just rating it on a scale from 0 to 10, like 10 being the worst experience. So like if I'm going to tap on pain, I always do my worst experience with pain, which today is childbirth. Sorry if that's too much information, but if you're a mother, you completely understand. And so that's how I rate it. So how does that, being 10, being that amount of pain, and rate it on a scale anywhere from 0 to 10. And the goal is that we want to actually get back down to 0 as we're tapping, or as close as possible is how they suggest that you do it. So that's the setup. So you determine on your scale where exactly you're sitting with your issue or your pain point that you have. And then the next thing is the actual sequence. So the actual tapping through the issue or the problem. Okay, so this is the karate chop point, and this is where we start. And you tap just like this on the side of your hand, as if you were doing karate, chopping a block or something. Okay, so, and it goes, even though I am feeling this self-doubt, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And you do that 3 times. So this is how it goes. So even though I'm feeling this self-doubt, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm feeling this feeling of self-doubt, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm feeling these feelings of self-doubt, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Now, all these other points, there's so many different, like I've watched a ton of different EFTs and I've had different sessions with other people. And it's one of the things too that's in my Yes Supply course. But these are the points for me personally that works. So make sure that you're also checking for points that work for yourself. So you start with a karate chop point. Always start with a karate chop point. That's part of the main sequence. And then you go to your eyebrow, like right here at the inside of your eyebrow. And again, for me personally, what works the best is if I repeat that same phrase on all of the points. And I generally go through it 2 times, and you want to tap like 7 to 10 times. And I know that I do that. I don't count, but I know that I do that regardless. So Even though I have these feelings of self doubt, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And you want to make sure that you're putting enough pressure. I mean, like, don't bruise yourself, but you do want to put a little bit of pressure on it when you're tapping away. And then you go to the side of your eye. So even though I have these feelings of self doubt, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I have these feelings of self doubt, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. So it's under the eye, the next one. And this is the next, under the point of your nose. And I always like hit right there in the, the old dimple spot. So even though I have these feelings of self doubt, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I have these feelings of self doubt, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. So that's under the chin. And then it's your collarbone. So, like, right where your collarbone, it comes here. And you can, if you prefer, one of the things you can try out too is double tapping, like to tap on two sides, like the same, like this. You can tap. Obviously, you can't do it on these points, but these points you can totally double tap if that feels better and you get better results. So even though I have these feelings of self-doubt, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And then it's like right under your arm. So, for me, it's like right around my bra strap. So it depends on if you know where that's at. So even though I have these feelings of self-doubt, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And you can tap on either side. It doesn't make any difference. And the final tapping spot is the top of your head, so like your crown. And even though I have these feelings of self-doubt, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. So that's the sequence. And I'll run through that generally like 2 times is when I feel it. Again, for me, my best results come if I actually just repeat the same phrase over and over again instead of saying a big long list. It just, in my mind, I can just focus on that one thing, and that's the best. You want to just focus on the one thing that you're trying to fix, and that's the sequence. And then the next thing is we actually go through and give ourselves some positive suggestions. So this, I don't necessarily always just use one. It's whatever I may have come up in my journaling session that I want to tap on. So when I'm, feelings of self-doubt, what is the opposite of that feeling of self-doubt that I actually want to feel? And for me, it's I want to feel knowledgeable. I want to feel brave. I want to feel trust in myself. I want to feel belief in myself. So those are the main points that I will tap on as I go through with my positive suggestions. So we're just going to go through and do that now in a whole nother round. And I generally, again, will do that like 2 times. So, and you don't karate chop, but you just run through all these sequences. You're obviously not going to pause in it. You're just going to keep running through. So, I want to trust myself. I do trust myself. I am confident. I am knowledgeable. I am brave. I trust myself. I believe in myself. I know that I can do this. I have complete and utter trust in my decision making. I know that I am knowledgeable. I know, and I believe in myself. I believe in me. I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in my business. I believe in my customers. I trust that I make the right decisions. I trust in my knowledge. I trust in me. I know that I can do this. I can do this. I can do hard things. Everything is easy. I trust in my knowledge. I trust in myself. I have utter complete trust in my decision making and in myself. I believe and trust myself. So this tapping point here was one that Reese does in her Yes Supply, and I hadn't ever used it before up until probably the last 6 months or so. And this one, for me personally, is a game changer. I don't know why, but for some reason, when I end my tapping like this, with just hitting my wrists together and tapping through like this, it totally is that last piece that I actually need to complete my tapping and to feel like I've gotten myself down to that 0 or near 0 point from my emotion that I was feeling before. So just a few final thoughts here as we're going through this whole tapping. So again, tapping is really very personal because we all have our own baggage and views of the world. And one of the things, so besides my limiting belief, the main place that I actually use my tapping is for sleep. So it's one of those things that in my evening routine, I've done the habit stacking of actually putting tapping into as I'm getting ready to go to bed at night, and to help and ask for that, specifically to fall asleep quickly and easily, and to stay sound asleep all night, because I'm not a very good sleeper sometimes. And one of the other things that is key to your tapping success is creating the consistency. It needs to be something that you're doing consistently every single day on that same thing. So I know I like to change my things up, but it's best if you actually set up that script for yourself and follow through with it for like 30 days. And if you're still not feeling like you're getting the results that you want, then do it a little bit longer, because really consistency is the key to it. You know, with everything in business, consistency is the key. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. I always appreciate a thumbs up if this was beneficial. If you have questions, please leave me a comment, and I appreciate you, and you enjoy your day.